let me get this thing going. Okay, we've got it recording. And Justin, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you and just kind of nudge me or whatever when you want me to move on to the next slide.
All right. So yeah, if you want to go right into the next slide right now, the first thing that I kind of want to bring up is coaching and the league. Realistically, they go hand in hand. They're the exact same setup, right? I mean, imagine having and this is going to be important later, a baseball league or even better, a T-ball league, so to speak, without a coach or coaches. It doesn't make any sense, right? So like Brad said, we launched the first 10 weeks program a couple years ago, and the tracks that went full bore, they had great success with it. Some people tried some other variations of it with varying levels of success. But the primary reason for coaching is really we needed to bring BMX kind of almost up to date with the rest of the United States and even the rest of the world, really, because we looked at a lot of other BMX programs from Canada and from Australia and from the clubs in Europe to see how they were integrating coaching. And the first thing that we found is obviously accepted safety standards, right? So this is the absolute basics. USA BMX is a youth athletic organization. So Brad, if you want to, you can just kind of go ahead and click on the slide here and bring up the rest of the points, the bullet points here. But USA BMX, again, we're a youth athletic organization. That's what we do, right? Hey, Brad, are you still there? Just not getting any feedback.
Sorry, I've got my my 5-year-old here, and I'm kind of trying to tend house and do.
Oh, okay.
It's a first for me.
Perfect. All right. So the first thing, guys, is really background check. So if you're a coach, it's $30. There's no cost for a track operator. They've already done this background check, but a background check is standard for any sport. The next thing is adult and pediatric CPR and basic first aid. This is important. When it comes to cost, the cost varies. So make sure that you look around if you're really concerned about what the actual cost is going to be. Some local volunteer fire departments, ambulance departments will offer free CPR classes or free basic first aid classes for the community. If you go the commercial route and you go to the American Red Cross, it can cost quite a bit more, upwards of $100. We do have a lot of people that do some online courses. You have to be careful of online, what's called course completion, which is not always a certification, because you will then have to show your skills to a person after you've completed the course in order to get your certification. The next thing we do, it's called the CDC Concussion Awareness Certification. This is an online concussion module. It's free of cost, takes about 45 minutes to do, and this is used by countless youth athletic organizations. If you go to the website, ever since we've started using this, the organizations that officially work with the CDC on this just continues to go up. I mean, T-ball, soccer, YMCA, you name it. This is almost the overarching basic concussion awareness certification. So we do require that. Now, these three basic things here, it's important because we had a track, it was actually Dacono. They're working with their recreation department to host camps this summer. And all of the coaches had to be staff, unpaid staff for the recreation department. And those coaches were required to do the exact same three prerequisites for the community center or the recreation center as we require. So they were able to double up, get it all done at once. But this isn't anything extra that we're asking. This is, again, this is accepted safety standards. So two of the other things that we do, guys, is it's a character reference. It's given by a track operator. And then inside the actual coaching program, we talk about safe clinic and lesson practices. So it's kind of an entire module or chapter, so to speak, in the downloadable programs. And this just talks about how to be heads up, what to consider when you're doing flow of traffic exercises, and how really to keep the kids as safe as possible. So that's just the first thing that we cover in the coaching program. And this is great because this means that every coach out there, whether they're doing a league, practice nights, if they're doing any kind of lessons, we know they have these basics down. So, we've covered this. We can go on to the next slide here.
So Justin, quick question, because it came up, and I know there could be other people that are either on or have people at their track that are in this situation. What about people that are may have already done one or a couple of the first two things, at least in terms of basic first aid? I'm talking about police officers, maybe firefighters who have some of these. Certainly, they may have done a background check. In terms of like, is what they've done for their job, especially if they're maybe a first responder type thing, or whatever, does that automatically qualify them, or what do those kind of people need to do?
Yes. So regarding the CPR and basic first aid, if you are a police officer, so if you work in any kind of public service sector, you have to require it to be in that job. If you are a healthcare provider, these are well above the minimums of basic first aid. And so in those circumstances, those people always care what's called a BLS certification, which stands for basic life support. It's completely separate. It does not include basic first aid. And that basic life support, all of those people, they send me the card, and then they just send me their work ID, so I know that they are in public service. So if you are an EMT, if you are a police officer, if you're a nurse, any other job that requires that certification where they actually teach you on site and it's not something that you have to hold from the American Heart Association, those people, we just take their work IDs. It just says, hey, I'm a nurse, I work at this hospital, and you're good to go. They always have to provide their BLS because that's something they have to hold for work, so they have their card. Those people, they know who they are. There has been some confusion. Some people have gone online in the past and they've gotten an online BLS certification, which is only CPR. It's basic life support. It doesn't include first aid. And these people are not public sector first aid or responders. And so I have to ask them for an additional first aid. And again, it's just the minimum first aid. It's just basic. What this shows is you understand the importance of safety and you are prepared to know the procedure of, a blood spill, how to call 911, how to be heads up. It just shows that awareness, and that is the important part.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, that came up actually, I think, while I was on my way to Connecticut, having a chat with somebody who kind of fit that bill.
Yep. And regarding the background check, so unfortunately, and it's a insurance thing, liability, we do, even if you're a teacher and you have an FBI fingerprint check, we still require you to do a separate background check through our third-party organization because it comes directly to us. That way, on the off chance that anything could happen, we can say, hey, we have their background check. We did our due diligence. And it's funny because at one point in my life, I was a preschool teacher at a church, obviously working for USA BMX, Ohio Dreams, and I was volunteering for my daughter's softball. Every 2 years, I was taking 4 separate background checks because nobody would accept the other person's check. So I understand how much of a headache that can be, and I apologize for that, but it's kind of the way the world works. I've lived it, so I understand it, but that is how it has to be. So, all right. So moving on to the next one is coaching, right? So this is what we're going to refer to in general as the new rider program. So we're just going to touch on this real quick. We've got a pop quiz. It's kind of just a little fun, and it's what does baseball, basketball, soccer, all other youth recreation sports have in common? Now, before you put that answer up, I already gave you the answer about 10 minutes ago. Brad, I don't know if you can see his screen, but if anyone answers it, I'm going to go ahead. Obviously, the fun answer here is the coach is expected to be a part of the program, and you as a rider or as a participant of that program are expected to attend the program. Those 2 points are some of the most important points that major youth athletics have in common that we are just now starting to implement. And that is where it doesn't even seem normal to show up to baseball practice and for there to not be a coach. You wouldn't sign up for baseball and then have to pay extra for a coach to be there for the kids, or just let the kids play against each other while the parents, yell at them to run, and catch from the sidelines. So that's kind of where we're going in BMX, because parents expect this. They show up, and I get emails and phone calls every day that come into the coaching department from parents all over the country. They say, hey, my kid's 9 years old. We want to start doing BMX. Who can teach us how to do it? Because they just got done with a baseball league or a soccer league where they had a coach. It's just normal youth athletics. So that's the first part of it. The second part, you're expected to attend. Nobody ever signs up for basketball that's 6 weeks long and then skips a game for a friend's birthday party. You go to that friend's birthday party later. So we call that the commitment of attendance. When you sign up, you've committed to something, you attend it for those 6 weeks. And that's something that the traditional BMX program does not have for novice riders, right? Think about it, as a brand new novice rider, after you start racing, if you start right now, for instance, in the Midwest, it's June 26th, and some tracks have already been running for 2 months. These riders, they're probably not going to earn enough track points to, get an award at the end of the year. They're not good enough yet to go to an SCR or maybe even a Gold Cup. So they're kind of caught in limbo. So they don't have to show up every single week, but we want them to, right? So that is the point of putting together a program. And that's when we're going to get into one of our primary programs for these new riders is going to be the league. And it's something that parents, they really love. So Brett, I kind of covered a lot of these points. If you want to move on here, real quick, obviously the parents expect the coach to be available. And that's what they expect. That's not how BMX has been for a long time, but that's what the new parents expect. So we need to give them what they expect if we want our numbers to swell to even, a quarter of the size of baseball or basketball out there. We want to make sure that tracks post any and all lessons that you have on your schedule, right? This is not only information for parents who they saw you in a parade, they say, hey, Anytown BMX, and they put it in Google, your website's going to pop up immediately. If you don't have your lessons on your schedule or information for new riders, they're not going to know it. It's not even going to be there for them, and they're going to end up asking, a lot of questions. Maybe they're instantly turned off by it. You put up there, hey, we are new rider friendly. These are the nights that we have our lessons, because I know that I'm busy, right? I have a 9-year-old daughter. She's into swimming. She does basketball. She does cheerleading and snowboarding, and we have to schedule this stuff. And if I don't see a schedule, I just kind of shrug my shoulders. And I know a lot of people out there are like that as well.
Justin,
this is also
you've got one other thing on here that I want to touch on, because, and it's funny, I've touched on this before. Debbie Kelly was one of the first people that I interviewed her several years ago. And she touched on that word lessons. And, people like to say, hey, we've got a new rider clinic, and we've got, somebody's coming to do jiu-jitsu. I go do seminars. Well, I'm pretty experienced in jiu-jitsu. I've been doing it for 10 years, and I might go to a clinic or a seminar, but when you're learning how to do anything, play the guitar, learn how to swim, you take lessons. And that is such a key word when you're talking about a brand new rider, as opposed to an intermediate who's trying to figure out how to get better to take himself to the expert level. That brand new rider and that brand new parent, that word lesson, there's a lot in that word.
Yes. And I agree. And you'll see as we move on, we continue to use that. And we're really trying to phase out that word clinic for the new riders. So requirement. Before we give out new coaching licenses now, and it's on the coaching policy section of the website, if you are a brand new coach, it is required that all of your lessons and your new rider program are scheduled with us before we send you a coaching license. And the reason we do that is because we know that you are working with your track. We know that you are promoting and helping your local program to grow as much as possible. Before you can go out there and travel, before you can start moving on from lessons to clinics, we want to know that you're working with a track operator and that you are helping your local program. And that is so important, because again, we're going to, as we get out of this basic stuff and get into more of the specific, we are going to talk about purely local coaches. And that's the point of all of this. So real fast, we're going to touch on this now. We're going to go back into it later. Any outgoing, caring volunteer can be a coach. And I want to leave that right there. We'll talk more about it in the next slides. Brad, if you can go ahead and bring up the next bullet points for me. Mentorship, positive reinforcement, they're the most important parts of being a coach. And again, we'll go into this more. We have lesson plans. There's that word again, lessons, scripts, videos, and we even have what to watch for on new riders, because a lot of them, they all make similar mistakes, right? And the most common ways to correct those basic mistakes, okay? Every track should be running a new rider program. Now, this is going to vary based on the track, and we are going to help you to choose what is best, all right? But a new rider program is imperative for the track. That's what the parents are going to expect. And obviously, right now, you know, our premier new rider program, that's going to be the USA BMX Racing League. And we're going to talk about how we build that into all of this in the next slides here. So the next step, obviously, you know, we're going to brush on it here. It's always try to sell a continued coaching as a package. So if you're running a league, we've got lesson plans for the league. We've got lesson plans for after the league. And after the league, we want you to sell continued coaching lessons, right? Parents, they've already bought into a league. Whether it's basketball, whether it's baseball, or whether it's the BMX Racing League. Parents paid for a league. They paid for something up front for a set amount of time that they knew was going to start and end. And that's what's important to these parents that are not as familiar with BMX racing as we are. Now, this is just an example that we have up here. Obviously, 5 lessons, 5 races. Average price you have for lessons is $10 each. Average price for races, $10 each. Half price membership, which comes after the league. Anyone that participates in a league, they receive a coupon for a half price membership, so it's $30. Package all that together, $130. Now they've got lessons, they've got races, they've got a membership, and most importantly, they've committed to this number, and that will round out your track points for after BMX Racing League, and it'll finish everything up for you. And again, we'll go into this more. So this one's just real quick. Obviously, if you want to get into it, we'll cover this again. Hit the coaching section of the website. Everything is on there, from finding your coach, becoming a coach, the payment resources, test links. Those are all made available after you meet all of the prerequisites by sending them into us. You're able to renew. Coaching policy is up there. You can email me directly. It's justin@usabmx.com, and we will get you started. So moving into this one. So the responsibilities of a local coach. And now we're going to get kind of in depth here, right? First, if you're a local coach, you are going to realistically be the person that works with riders the most. You have so much responsibility. Person in registration, the clerk, they're signing them up, they're getting them ready to go, they're making sure they have the right numbers, number plates. The track operator is going to be overseeing everything. A lot of times, they're making sure the track is ready for you to race, the gate is set up, they're fixing any, you know, rain ruts that are out there, and they might not be able to meet up with every parent or work with every racer. So a local coach is going to step in there. It is the responsibility of a local coach to support new racers at every event. Okay. And this is something that's new for us. We've had clinics for a while, and now we're phasing into these lessons, but if we use that baseball example, a coach doesn't just do practices and then not show up to the games. They're there to support these young athletes through every step. So we really want that local coach to be there at every event, because when that, rider that you're working with doesn't get first place or doesn't transfer to the main, you want to be able to look at him and say, hey, you know what, Johnny? I saw you out there today, and you manualed, that little double on the second straight for the first time ever in a race. That was amazing. You looked so good out there. And that is going to be providing mentorship and encouragement, right? So that's the next bullet point we have out there. The responsibility is using provided lessons to teach basic riding and track skills. So that's another one of those sentences that's worded very specifically. We provide you with a lot of lessons. I think we're up to 15 or 16 different lessons now, if you include league and the coaching program lessons in the traditional program. This is basic riding and track skills. So we're talking about the kind of things that are going to help you navigate a track for the first time without falling down. The types of things that are going to allow you to add a little bit of speed to that with another rider next to you without falling down. Maybe bring you up to a competitive level and help you with some of the basic track skills. These are all going to be novice level skills sliding into intermediate, right? So this is important because we're going to get into the who can be a coach later. Obviously, we want to keep the fun level high for new racers, okay? If they don't have a lot of awards that they can shoot for yet, we want to keep it as fun as possible for them. We want to help the riders focus on their personal achievements. Again, that's like manualing in that second straight instead of their race results. You have to assist in the management of your BMX Racing League. There has to be a coach for every BMX Racing League. Management of the new rider program in whatever form that may be, if your track isn't running a league, right? The management of a continued coaching program for racers that are converting from the league program. So if they've done the league is introduction to BMX level stuff here. We want to sell them that package that we talked about on the last slide, and that's the continued coaching. And we want to work to create as many intermediate racers as possible. Now, I know that Brad can speak more to this than I can, but we have a lot of data that shows once racers move up into the intermediate class, or they race an SCR or a multi-points race, a Gold Cup, their retention and the amount of races they do per year starts to skyrocket.
Yeah, we were tracking. So we were tracking that back in some different summits and stuff. But I mean, it's the reason why we've done different things over the years, like postcards to try to get novices out to see BMX at the national level and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we want to try to guide them through and try to get them up to that next level. Again, I always talk in these things about, my hobby now in jiu-jitsu and same thing there. Like, nobody wants to be that white belt forever. So as much as I can coach somebody up and they get to a blue belt and they've got that first kind of sense of accomplishment, it just motivates them that much more to keep going and to try to work harder to get better.
So, and really that local coach, it's their job to instill a lifelong passion of BMX racing and new riders. And listen, I can attribute this. I had some coaches, when I was, 13 or 14 years old, my local track, it was Southtowns BMX in Hamburg, New York. And I know a lot of you on this, webinar are going to know the name, Colin Stiles. He came, he did a clinic. This was before there were local coaches teaching lessons. Your only option to get kind of advanced level stuff was all these traveling coaches. And he came with a bunch of kids and I was super excited, right? And these clinics and these lessons made me love BMX for so long. I went on, I tried to race pro. I was not very successful at it. I'm okay with that because I still love BMX. Last night, I was riding my local BMX track. The day before that, I was riding local trails. And honestly, I had some of the best coaches in the world. A lot of you guys know Jerry Landrum. He created camps a long time ago that I went to. My first ever major coach, his name was Scott Yokelette. He was a AA pro. And now as an adult, I get to ride with him at the indoors, in the wintertime. And it's amazing because these are people that made me love the sport, and they were happy people. They were positive people. And even though I was never very good at it, it was something that I was able to turn into a career, and I still ride, and if we can, as coaches, create more and more of those riders by giving them that positive experience, that is what's going to help, all of our local numbers go up. So let's move on a little bit here, Brad, and we're going to take it back to T-ball. And I said that I was going to bring this up later, in the presentation, and that's, what is a T-ball coach? Obviously, I'm trying to lead up to something here, so hear me out. Historically, this is America's pastime. This is one of the first coaches, that we have as children. I think my daughter started playing T-ball when she was 5 years old. She might have danced at 4, but as far as a coach goes, athletic outside, her T-ball coach was her first real coach. And we all remember these coaches, because they made us happy, right? And for a lot of us, we still follow baseball, or if your sport was something else, basketball, you're now a fan of the NBA because this is what you loved when you were a child. Next slide, Brett. So moving on here is something else. What is a T-ball coach? Their primary objectives, in T-ball are teaching the basic concepts: how to catch, how to swing a bat, right? The ball's not even a moving target at this time. And really it's the love of the game. They do goofy stuff. They have popsicles at the end of all of it, right? So that's, that's awesome. Next slide, Brad, here. So who are these T-ball coaches, right? Many times these are parents with little to no experience as a coach, and they're needed for the team. I've been asked multiple times when I walk into my daughter's elementary school, or even I walked into the high school, they looked at me one time and the assistant principal said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Cameron Travis's dad. She's doing basketball camp." "Oh, you're tall. You look kind of athletic. Do you want to coach volleyball?" "I don't know anything about volleyball." "Well, they're 7th graders. We need someone out there to just help them with the basics," right? They need coaches. If we provide you with the materials to be a coach and you are outgoing and positive, even if you don't have any experience, again, these pictures reflect, who our newest riders are. And really, we still need a local coach, a local mentor at every single track. And we don't have that yet. Move on to the next slide here. So again, this is taking that moment to imagine a T-ball team without a coach. It doesn't even make sense, right? So I challenge you is, why shouldn't every new BMX racer, every new 7-year-old, 9-year-old, 11-year-old have an entry-level coach who's an adult, who can, even read a manual and transpose that to the child? Or even if we're not talking about skills, talk just about the mentorship, because children, they look up to adults, right? And I know that there are many, many tracks out there that don't have riders or even parents that used to ride that are there to step up to be a coach. So we want to help make any person be a coach. Brad, if you can, next slide for me here. Any parent, track operator, volunteer, or rider who's over the age of 18 can be a USA BMX coach. This is a picture. This is one of Donnie Robinson's racing leagues here. And, there's some parents that were in the league, but whenever a parent signs their child up, they have to sign up to volunteer. They are right out there on that track, helping these kids over the small jumps, making sure they're not falling down, creating an experience. And I'm going to be honest, if you look at these children in the front row here on all these little bikes, you don't have to know how to hit a pro section. You don't have to know how to win a national. You don't even have to know how to manual through a set of rollers to be able to make sure that all of those kids in the front row there have a good time on their bikes, that they're laughing and that they're having fun. And this is so important because we need to empower as many people who are positive and outgoing. Brad, if you want to bring up the next slide, to be a coach and to help us run these programs, right? So what are the qualities and skills that a new coach must have, right? I want you to look at these real fast. I'll go through the list. It's energetic, it's caring, it's being patient, it's being outgoing, being organized, timely, having a commitment to be there for the riders, being positive, and then have a willingness to learn. If you've never raced a bike before or you're new to BMX, obviously you need to learn and you need to be able to absorb and take advice from riders and from track operators or from the videos that Donnie or myself provide. But notice that the qualities and skills that you need to be a new coach and to work with the BMX Racing League, realistically, it doesn't mean national level experience. You don't need that quality and you don't need that skill. I mean, it's just not there. Moving on here. So I get a lot of questions from people that say, hey, how can you teach me to be a coach? I don't understand, what you mean by we can teach anyone to coach, right? So this is kind of what we provide. So when you're in the process of learning to be a coach and you go through the USA BMX coaching program, we provide you with detailed lesson plans, with scripts and videos, right? So we'll give you a video of the skill. We'll give you a script on how to teach the skill until you learn it and feel comfortable, and then you can go off on your own. But when you first start traditional coaching, new rider lesson plans, again, these are lesson plans. The first few here, this is the coaching, and this is what you learn as a coach, and this is reference materials for you, how to create and manage a new rider program. So we took some of the best programs in the country, we looked at them, we learned how they were created, the best way to manage them, we put them in there, and so that is in there, how to do this. Risk management. Risk management is very important, okay? It's something that we all have to always think about. That's why we have those accepted safety standards that our coaches need to use. But it also goes into, it's a hot day. How often do we take a break to drink? When is it okay to tell a rider, let's jump this jump? We need to learn on a tabletop first, maybe a really mellow step up, then a smaller double, then a bigger double. You learn how to manage that and how to look at a rider, because no one wants to be the person that's responsible for the words, man, you're going to be fine, just send it. And then a broken arm happens. So we really want to learn how to deal with that management. Leadership in BMX, what that means, right? How to go out onto the track, how to be a leader, how to deal with parents that might be a little bit intense, okay? All of that is there. BMX with children, how to work with children. That picture that we showed you earlier from the BMX Racing League, there was a group of people that was on top of a jump. They were adults. Then there was a group of people that was lower. They were on the straightaway. Those were all children, right? Working with adults is different than working with teenagers, which is different than working with children. We have some basic stuff, some tips on how to work with children to keep them engaged, keep their attention span there, and have fun with them. We talk about some simple exercise for BMX, how BMX can help with, the overall fitness of any person. Super basic nutrition and hydration. And I mean, how do you monitor yourself for hydration to make sure that you're, drinking enough water on a race day? It's a long, hot day. You had a lesson on Saturday morning. They did practice, and then they're racing their local on Saturday afternoon through the hottest part of the day. How to watch for that. The kind of foods that'll give you an upset stomach. Eat your vegetables. Stay away from Snickers bars. Basic stuff, right? And then the lessons, right? A couple examples of these lessons. Introduction to BMX 1 and Introduction to BMX 2. Those are simple lessons. They're off-track lessons. They involve figure 8 drills, cone drills, some bunny hop drills, how to keep your pedals level. Okay. Again, you have the lesson plan and the script for this. We talk about gate starts. You have a lesson plan and script for pumping, manualing, jumping, turns, pack skills, which is different than turns, right? Straightaways, etc. And then for the league, here's a lesson plans that we include for that. The league is, again, league attracts the newest riders, the ones that are the least likely to kind of find BMX on their own because they're looking for something that's more exciting than baseball. Riding down the starting hill and one-footed gates, right? That is part of the first race, okay, that they ever have. How to pedal over an obstacle for beginners, right? We talk about pedaling through a rhythm section. I know to a lot of people on this webinar that that's counterintuitive. You want to pump through a rhythm section, right? Unless you're 5 or 6 years old and you don't have any momentum, you don't have any body weight, you've never been on a track before, you need to be able to just kind of pedal so you can finish the track. We teach them how to do that. It's really simple stuff. Then we can move on to two-footed balancing on the gate, avoiding cones and turns while pedaling. It's crash avoidance is really what we're working on. We're not even working on passing at this point. It's just general awareness, right? How to ride on the edge of a straightaway. A lot of straightaways are 15 or 20 feet wide when you get to the third straightaway, and many riders get stuck riding down the middle and they don't need to, and we just have them ride down the edge. You know, again, we provide the script, we provide the lesson, how to ride in groups side by side. These are all outlines and all the titles of the lessons, you know, that we provide for you guys. So that is why, you know, we try to make it so anyone can be a coach, even if you've never done it before. So moving on here to the last slide is we will help. So whether your track is hosting a BMX Racing League, right, which is turnkey, we provide a lot of the information for that, even the scheduling and the advertising, or a traditional BMX lesson, which can come after the BMX Racing League. With racing, anything in between, we can help you design and schedule a program that works for your track, okay? If you need a coach and you don't have anyone in mind that's really at the top of your head, we've been sending out email blasts to people in your area, right? 50-mile radius of your zip code, past and present members. Maybe you're going to spark somebody who raced when they were 16, they're looking at getting back into it, and they're like, man, you know what? I'd love to help out at my local track. You haven't thought about them because maybe they haven't been out there for 2 years. Maybe you're a brand new track operator and you don't know everybody yet. But these email blasts are helping to bring out new coaches and parents that are interested in it. So maybe there's a parent out there who'd love to coach, you don't know it. If there's anyone that's interested in becoming a coach, or you need help getting someone to become a coach, email me. My email is justin@usabmx.com. It's real simple. Shoot me an email. I'm going to get you the direction that you need, the instructions that you need. We're going to help you build a program at your track. We're going to start off with getting you licensed as a coach. We're going to try to set up a BMX Racing League with you. This has proven results, and then we're going to set up an after league program. But if that might not be right for your track, I mean, there's a lot of tracks. We have, you know, over 320 tracks now. Not every one of them is going to fit inside that turnkey box. If we have to adjust your schedule or adjust your new rider program for you, we can do that, right? But you've got to contact us, and we've got to get moving on it, because this is something that's going to be able to help you a lot at your track. I know that. So we're about 10 minutes early here on the finish. So Brad, what do you have here?
So we've got we've got Mark and Chris online. I know we've got Ben online. So we've got a couple of tracks, Justin, in your region that obviously are in the middle of league or just finished their leagues, and they went really, really well. So I just forwarded to Chris so we can try to unmute them. Let me see if I can. I don't know that they have a mic, so I'm gonna try to see. So let me try Chris first and see if they're ready to go. Hey, Chris, are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, perfect. So, so obviously Justin was just going through and talking about coaching and I don't want to steal the show from him here, but I know Justin knows some of the success that you had with league and I guess just in terms of like brand new riders and everything. Justin was just talking about how if you're brand new to this to any sport, people expect that their kid's going to get taught how to do it, and that was just something that was missing in BMX for so long. The league obviously is a way to get it and package it in a way that, I mean, it's kind of spoon fed to both sides. I mean, it's spoon fed to the rider with videos saying, hey, here's what's coming up this week, here's what you're going to learn. It's spoon fed to the coach, but I mean, just in terms of your guys' experience with league, what can you tell us about what you think about it from a track? And and you guys, the great thing is you guys were already obviously a very successful track. The other track we're going to talk to that was doing league, very successful track as well. But you both said, you know what, we want to try to jump on this new thing, and it seems to have paid off big time.
Yeah, we both you got Chris and Mark.
Awesome. Hey, so, Mark.
We started all with this league. We were a little skeptical at the beginning to try and see if this thing was going to work, but it worked very well for us. We had 20 that did sign up to start with. Then on the first night, one little girl came out and she decided that she wanted a different size of bike that we wanted to give her, and it was way too big. And she went out on the bike the first lap, and we could not get her on a smaller bike, and she crashed. Okay, that was the only one that dropped out of the league. That was the only one that did. So we had 19 go through the whole league situation, and at the end result, we had 13 of them actually sign up for new full members. And we got a potential, I think, of at least 2 more that's going to probably sign up for this.
That's awesome, and I know, well, I know we've got our marketing coordinator, Rob Gardenhire, on and just kind of checking things out. And Rob's queued up some great emails. And that's something I'm going to get some of that put out on the Track Operator Facebook page too, because I mean, he's got things going on that people don't even know was happening, birthday cards, but we're also targeting these league people that they did the league. They maybe didn't convert, and so I mean, we're hoping it's great to hear that such a high percentage of ones that went through the league ended up converting right out of the get-go. But those remaining 6, we want to go after those remaining 6 as well. But that's incredible.
Brad, what I found out was very interesting is that we did reach a group of people that we don't normally reach, because almost half the kids that showed up were not comfortable with even riding a bicycle. Wow. It was interesting to watch them go through the little
Yeah, we had a 5-year-old that showed up that got off the training wheels the week before our league started, and now he's riding around the whole track, and actually he's standing up on the last straight now, and he's so proud of himself, and he is racing everything that he can race now, sitting down, but he will not stand up.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And Justin, I mean, I think you and I kind of saw this too. I mean, with these targeted Facebook ads and stuff that Donnie and that league track is doing, I mean, you really are hitting a new market, right? We're tapping into people we tap into.
Yes. It's cool how many parents see this and they say, you know what? I want my kid to ride a bike. I want my kid to go out there and learn how to ride, how to race, because these are not the type of parents that are out there seeking BMX racing, right? It's not a kid who wanted to go to a skate park. It's not a kid who watches the X Games on TV and decides he loves it and Googles BMX racing in my town. These are ads that are put in front of parents that wouldn't normally search that, and makes that parent go, man, you know what? My kid's not riding a bike the way that I did when I was younger, and they sign him up for it. We're reaching a whole new group of people here.
And so, Mark and Chris, what have you guys? I mean, so I don't know how far out of your league ending are you, and what have you seen from the parents? Do you? And you guys, don't get me wrong, you guys are a track that has an incredible volunteer base. I saw that the first time we went there for a national. I mean, you guys had that truck loaded up but I mean, an incredible team of volunteers there. But do you find the same thing that we found with other tracks, that these guys are willing to step up a little bit more than the normal BMX parent that you're used to?
Yeah, we saw. Yeah, we saw a few of them volunteer. One guy walks up, and my wife puts it on the counter, that we need volunteers, and she had to list it out, that gate starter, and all this stuff. And the one thing that was left was announcer. Oh, geez, I guess I'll try announcing. He ended up announcing the next 3 of the races, and it was just kind of funny seeing a new guy trying to announce. But yeah, we got the help, and they come out of the stands, and they were helping. It was amazing compared to the normal parents, because we got a normal group of volunteers, but trying to get the more volunteers on a normal race there is pretty hard. But these people, most of them are fired up, and they wanted to help, it seemed.
What happens with the league is usually they have to be kind of explained, like Justin had said. It's part of that league program. So at one point, one day, we weren't getting many volunteers, and I just announced that, we'll begin the race as soon as we have the volunteers. We are not able to move forward. I have limited volunteers of parents helping do the league. It's up to these people to step forward. While I had almost half of them come up to the window right then and say, oh yeah, we'll volunteer. So they're anxious to sit back and wait, but yet when it get pushed come to shove, they were more than willing to jump in.
Yeah, and I apologize for not, I guess, properly introducing, for those of you who don't know or have never talked to Mark and Chris. This is Mark and Chris Stats, Central Wisconsin BMX, Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, and been track operators a long time, and run just a great program in a cool little town. And so yeah, it's great talking with you guys, and yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome to see, again, a track that's established, has a very successful program, doing this league and having success with it is just awesome to see.
The coaches, you were talking about who can be a coach. And yeah, I'm a coach on this thing, and our track president is a coach. And we both, I ride bike. I try to ride bike sometimes. And he doesn't usually ride bike, but we ended up coaching through this thing, and we had a blast. I mean, it was we looked more forward to the Wednesday nights than we did the other nights coming out to the track, coaching these little kids, because they just want to ride. That's all they want to do is ride. And you can't get them off the track at the end of the night. And it was just a blast to do. So.
Yeah, and the great thing about you guys getting these parents in, and even though you have a great team of volunteers, trying to get these parents in and get them volunteering is, when you guys have other big races going on in and around Wisconsin, when the Nationals over at Elise Post home track here next month, you're probably going to have a lot of your core people that are their kids are deep into the sport take off. It's so good. I've talked time and again about a track having an A team and a B team. If your A team guys that have been there forever end up leaving, it's good to have these newbies that want to help, they want to volunteer, to be, kind of trained and ready to jump in there so your track doesn't miss a beat.
Yep, we do. So I don't know if I was supposed to say anything at that point, but.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much, Mark and Chris, for joining us and kind of giving us your perspective. I'm gonna see if I can get Rob Gardenhire's mic going. But thank you so much, guys, and great talking to you. And thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Hey, let me see if I can get Rob. Rob may not have a mic. Rob, do you have a mic? Rob may not have a mic. I tried to unmute him, but
he didn't call in.
He's typing, which we could type, and I could try my best. Rob Gardenhire. I don't know if my voice goes as deep as Rob Gardenhire's to impersonate him.
I don't think anybody's does.
I do some impersonations, but I don't. But
I can try.
Let me see. So the other track that we got on here, Justin, also from your track, was Ben. Let me see if I can get Ben on here. Hold on one second. And while I do that, Justin, tell him about Ben's track and where he's from. He's your region again.
So Ben is Blue Springs, Missouri, And let me go ahead and I'm going to pull up actually his league information real fast here. So
Ben, did I get you on here? Are you Mike working?
I believe so. I'm here.
Awesome. All right. So Blue Springs BMX, man, a storied track. You know, I got to go there. I don't know who was running. I don't know if Jim Riley was running that track, but you know, that was a track. That's track number for you guys that keep track. That is track 844, which was a very old track number. Bonnie and Harry Deal and built Harry's Hilton there. So anybody that's gotten to step into that track, you know, they really got a nice turnkey program in a beautiful park. But Ben, you and Kelly have gotten in there and just done some incredible things numbers wise. You know, I know you guys and Raytown have kind of teamed up and done some great kind of cross promotions on that side of Missouri. And despite the numbers that you've done, I mean, you took a chance again, like Mark and Chris Stats, very successful track in Wisconsin, on this BMX Racing League thing.
43.
43, and I think we have 12 have signed up, have crossed over into open racing so far, and there's probably another 3 to 5 families that are excited about it. Our Olympic day had been postponed to this Tuesday to today. Unfortunately, we got our typical Tuesday rain, so I think some of those parents were hoping to come out for the Olympic day. So we kind of we're hoping that we get a few more than just the ones that have converted so far.
So talk about
excellent. So you go, Brad. I'm sorry.
Talk about those. I mean, 43, you know, and this is what we're seeing with some of these leagues. I mean, is that we, you know, you ran the ad, we ran the Facebook ads for this thing, you do an open house, and you get 43 brand new people that have never tried the sport to come out. I mean, that's got to be, for any track, just kind of a thrilling thing. I mean, because I know tracks, to get that many brand new people out all at once has just got to be a thrilling thing for any track operator or any coach.
Oh, absolutely. It was. I think, you know, we kind of joke around that we learned more about this than I think the kids did. You know, much like Mark and Chris, we were a little apprehensive as well. You know, we do a decent job of recruiting new riders in our open series. You know, I look at the ratios of our new and renewal riders compared to our riders under 5 races, and we do a good job of keeping them long enough with the amazing volunteers environment that we have. So we kind of questioned it, but what we were kind of, the idea initially is using it as a stepping stone before we get into some of the foundation things. So we thought the racing league would be a great way to start. So we did you know, with your guys' help, we advertised for the open house. We had 100 riders that showed up in the open house, or 100 kids and parents. Thankfully, we had kind of did a all points bulletin to all of our volunteers. We had an amazing outpouring of people that don't normally volunteer on our open racing side that came out to help just because of the idea of all these new kids. And it was amazing because several of them got so involved with it and loved it so much. It's something so pure about this whole group. You know, it's not like all the riders aren't important, but to have this big group of kids that through the whole thing, you see the smiles through the helmets. It touched the current open racing volunteers, I think, just as much as it did the racing league kids and the parents. And much like Mark and Chris, you know, we also got our parents involved with the race functions. You know, it took a little poking and prodding initially, but we were kind of adamant about trying to fill the positions. We ended up with, for every race, we ended up with corner officials, and then also at least 3 or 4 track monitors that stood in the straights, you know, the ditches of the straights to kind of help out any riders. And you know, slowly we started backing out for every race league session we ran. The normal volunteers would kind of back out and let the parents kind of run the show. And, you know, they were willing and seemed super excited to help. So not only do we hope for more riders to roll into open racing, but we also hope for some parents that now become volunteers and understand because we push so much that we're a volunteer sport and we're completely run by volunteers, that, hey, it takes us to, help get these kids on the track.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, I mean, the really cool thing that you said there about, the volunteers that you needed from the open racers, from the racers you already have that needed to help you get this league off the ground, is that something like this just kind of recharges your batteries. John David and I used to talk about that all the time when we got the Canadian National Series off the ground up there. Going up to those races, they're not so much anymore. I mean, we could see triple-digit moto counts this weekend in Abbotsford, and hope to do so. But those were smaller races, and you go to those races, and it was more of kind of like a local feel, and really kind of it recharged your batteries. When you see something like this, when you go do the nationals and you go do big nationals and you're chasing points and you're doing the state series and doing this and that, it's nice sometimes to pull away from that and unplug. Go back and see a kid who's getting into it for the first time and is brand new, and you get to kind of see the sport through their eyes and experience that. It's just kind of a really cool thing that just kind of energizes you, and it's really cool to hear that happened for your volunteers that helped you.
Yeah, and Mark and Chris said as well, is ours was on Monday night, and there was just a certain level of excitement for Monday nights to get here, because these kids they were so excited. And just kind of a side note, we were overwhelmed with that 100 people, 100-person turnout on an open house, and we didn't expect that. We were glad we had as many volunteers as we did from the Open League, and we actually only had a couple of them the next league session, and then slowly kind of trickled it out to where it was just a few of us, kind of A-team volunteers. But we had a handful. That's kind of when we decided to cap it on how many we took, because we were just worried of the quality that we could give them, and all it takes is one little misstep and for a kid to be concerned with it, or a parent. So but we did have quite a few. What we found in was the scale of riders. Same deal with, somebody just came off training wheels, just somebody that we knew from the open house. We had 2 striders that ended up pedaling, that finished pedaling. But we knew that we ended up with some of the 100 from the open house that actually end up going right into the open series. So it attracted them, and they weren't as, you could tell that they were more confident and wouldn't be as overwhelmed about going right into the open series like a normal kid would. But I think the 43 that went into the league needed that, and they learned so much. We've had one race with them integrated in, and to some degree they looked like they did better out there than some of the ones that have been racing a little while that just stepped into the open series. So it really did put them at an advantage when it came to the blend into the open racing.
So Ben, you just touched on a very important topic for a lot of people, and that is the league isn't for everybody. And the best part about it is traditionally when people would come out to a BMX track for the first time, they'd be intimidated, and you'd have those kids that they stuck it out and they were BMX racers. And I came up with a theory on that one day, and that is that a BMX racer is simultaneously, he's a jock, he's an athlete, he's that kid that wants to be athletic like a football player, but he's also an action sport junkie, right? And that's what makes a BMX racer, that is the kid that takes to it like a fish in water. Okay. But everybody else, all those regular kids that we just need to give that extra time to really teach them to love the sport the way that we do, that's who the league is for. And when you have that open house that's 100 riders strong, or 100 people show up, you're going to find those kids that they're not league. They want to jump into it. They want to do it right now. You can't stop them. They're open racing. They're going for it. They're going to get their 10 wins in 5 races, right? And those kids, you know, they're always going to be there. They're always going to go into regular racing. Unfortunately, those are the minorities. And the BMX Racing League gives us the ability to get all of those kids that aren't as gung-ho and they're a little bit more timid and really give them the time to learn their own self-confidence and to prepare them for what BMX racing is in the open racing status is what we call it now. And that's one of the major benefits to the racing league, you know? So I'm super excited that you said that and we're able to differentiate between those riders, because the racing league, you know, it allows us to have riders stick around that wouldn't have stayed before. And that's one of the game changing parts about it.
And that was some of the things we had to, it puts us in a tough situation, but when a mom calls who's been to the or even before that, but would call and kind of question, okay, which one's the best for us and I kind of ended up with kind of scripted questions to kind of dissect, you know, how old's your kid, you know, just try to figure out, because I didn't really want to be the one to push them one way or the other. So I would give them all, you know, a little bit of the details of both of them and kind of give them options. And it was interesting to watch them go through that. And some would go one direction, some would go the other. You know, some would go towards open racing, some would go to the league. But you're right. It sure seemed like the ones that went through the league are now, you know, the ones that have crossed over are sure gung-ho to continue with the sport.
And for the other ones, I mean, how great is it that, you know, you sign up to do a league. The league comes with an open house. The promotion gets done on Facebook to get people to that open house. You get 100 people sign up. You got some of them that jump right into open racing. The rest jump into league. I mean, it's just kind of a win-win all the way around. And again, I love seeing this for tracks that are, you know, very successful tracks in the states that you guys are in. I mean, the league for me, I knew was going to be, as I've got up on my screen now, a game changer for the tracks that are struggling. Like, how are we going to get these new people out there, right? And especially if you're a track that's really, again, not the Central Wisconsin, not the Blue Springs, you've got a pretty good moto count, where you've got a struggling moto count. And I'm talking about, you know, we've got, I know Oak Mountain did a league and had, you know, 40 some kids in league, and that's more than they're averaging their average rider count. If they get half of the kids convert in league, you know, as has happened before, you know, and I know Mark and Chris talked about, hey, they put 19, 20 of them through league and 13 of them switched, and they think they're going to get a couple more. You know, you're talking about game-changing numbers even for established programs in the novice ranks. And so, but it was really cool for me to see tracks that are very successful tracks that do pretty decent numbers, you know, jumping on this thing and seeing that it's a positive for them as well. I mean, to have 100 brand new people that have never tried the sport come out on any one given day to check it out, it's just incredible. Well, hey, I want to thank you, Ben, for taking the time. I know you were kind of running around, got some rain kind of canceling your Olympic day, and you had to go do some track maintenance. And then man, you raced you got to the computer a lot faster than you told me you were going to. So.
Well, that was a joint effort. Kelly was here setting this up for me while I was finishing up at the track. So it's there's always a group around me.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks.
And appreciate what you guys do to help this along and grow the sport, and to you know, learn and grow through this process, and hopefully, you know, whether it's Mark and Chris or us or whoever, the feedback that we give you guys, you can just make it better for the next group, and continue to capture those kids that will fit into either side.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much, Ben.
Brad, I want to take a moment to I want to take a moment to kind of touch on the league, and you mentioned, how great it's been for some of these tracks that are, top performing tracks. Some of them are even, top 10 tracks in the regions. But the best part about league here is, even if you don't have a team, league is it's a turnkey program. So we provide so much of the administration that it helps lower the amount of resources that you need to commit to it, right? So we've had some smaller tracks, and I don't want to throw any tracks under the bus out there, but there's a track recently, and I just pulled up some numbers here on some of our charts. They had 19 riders sign up for their league. Said 31 riders registered for the open house. And they had 19 riders and actually 3 parents for the league. So that's 22 riders that signed up, paid to race in league in the month end of May, early June there. Now this same track last year in June, May and June combined, they only had 3 new riders in May and 4 new riders in June. Now this is a track in the Midwest. There's a lot of tracks out here. It's one of the smaller tracks, but we're talking more than double the amount of riders in the early summer than they've had in the last 2 years during the same month time frame. And this is not a top 10 track. This isn't even a top 50 track. But the fact that it's turnkey, that we handle, the advertising for it, and that we provide you with those lesson plans, we provide you with all of the training to work with the kids, is what makes this program so great and so easy, really, to put at your track.
No, and what I love about that too is, you talk about, so they're bringing in better numbers than they did before, obviously with league, but along with that, as we heard from those 2 tracks, and I think we finally we finally got Rob on something where he can talk, and I don't have to try to voice. Let me see if we can get Rob on here, maybe. Send unmute. Rob, are you there? I'm trying. Send unmute request. Okay. He is connected to audio. There we go. I think.
I'm in the game.
There we go.
I'm here.
So yeah.
Oh, whoa! Turn the bass down.
So what I was saying was, the great thing about this is not only are they increasing their numbers over what they were able to sign up in brand new members, but if you're one of those struggling tracks in a state, and really a struggling track, and you get that kind of infusion of brand new volunteers, that's like a whole new breath of fresh air. That's from I'm ready to throw in the towel to, wow, not only have I increased my numbers, but now I got people that are going to help me, and it's not just going to be me killing myself for the numbers that have been showing up. It's like a win-win. And so, Rob, you're one of the rare staff people that, had a kid that got into the sport through league. All of us kind of grew up racing, and either our kids tried BMX the old organic way or whatever. You're a fairly new staff member. You got a kid that came into racing through league. You've been through the league kind of as a parent and a staff observer. What can you tell the tracks that are on here about what you've seen?
Yeah, I think, thanks, Brad. And for those who don't know, Rob Gardenhire, Chief Marketing Officer here with USA BMX. And Brad's exactly right.
One of 2 Tulsa employees. You now have a friend in Tulsa. Exactly.
Right. We've got one in right outside of Tulsa in Collinsville, and then I'm here in Tulsa and getting ready to kick off this new venue. So my daughter Ainsley and I went about it all the wrong way. We became a member, went to a clinic with Primal BMX one night, and then ended up waiting and going into league, and really had a great experience. And I think what Justin said about the confidence that league builds for your new riders is so huge. My daughter Ainsley, who's 11, was able to just roll into league. Really one of only two girls in league, and out of 21 total riders, 1 parent, 20 kids, and really just hit her stride and gained confidence every week, and was, by the end of it, matched up against another male rider, and was, really not happy when she wasn't beating him. So yeah, I've definitely seen it from both sides. But I think the really cool stuff we're trying to do with all of this, and appreciate all the track operators on the call today, is we're not only taking the kids you have in league and trying to talk to them, but we're also taking the folks who have signed up for one of your open houses and not converted to a league member. We're also, once a month we hit them with an email, thank them for their interest in BMX, try and get them re-engaged either through membership or the next league session. So I just want everyone to know we're working on the backside to convert even more members over to your league or to your track as a full member. So that's definitely one of the major things we're doing. The other thing that we have going on that Brad talked about earlier, we're marketing directly to one-day memberships, providing them with a quote-unquote coupon for a one-day membership. They still have to grab that coupon, come to your track. Those are some, folks that have entered their email address on our website through our membership page. We're about to start serving Facebook ads to all across the nation for, driving folks to that website on our membership page at usabmx.com to get them engaged. And then too, I think the new member videos that we're working on right now. So as people sign up and become new members of your track, whether it's through league or just on their own, we're every 7 days, we're sending them an email that includes some videos and new rider manuals and those things that are, hopefully helpful to them and getting them integrated into your track and your communities. And then like, Brad said too, the birthday emails we're sending out to membership. And then eventually we're working on this, but we're also going to start hitting riders up with new riders, especially with some retention videos. And those will center around, how-to videos, bike maintenance videos, things that we'll film with some of our staff members that will just, again, further, help new riders and new parents in this sport to stick around, to give them some guidance, to hopefully answer some questions for them. But yeah, I can't say enough about league and all the changes that we've made to league. I mean, I guess we're in version 2.0, Brad, if you agree with that we're, we've really made some great changes to offer parents and riders both some new opportunities in week 1, and then to get them into open racing that Justin talked about there in week 6. So, if you're just starting league or getting ready to consider that, I think the model that we've rolled out and some of the adjustments we've made are huge for making league successful, because the next step is moving people from league to full membership, and you give them another week to do that. You take them to open racing, you welcome them into your community. I think those are really important steps in the process, especially for my daughter. So
yeah, you literally show them the next step. It's like, okay, the last night is the introduction of the next step that comes after league. But yeah, Rob, I'm really excited, man. I'm gonna jump on a plane and fly up to go run that Abbotsford race at the Sumas Mountain Nationals. I'm really excited about that. First time at that venue for us. That's a big hill. Got a supercross open up there for the Northwest for any of the tracks that might have Northwest riders that want to. We're going to be letting the kids go down the big hill, the 15 and overs, and can't wait. But after that, I've got a nice little lull before my next trip out of town, Rob. And I really want to, because I really think you've got so many things that you've rolled out here and kind of quietly rolled out. And if you're a track operator whose kid had a birthday, then you saw that happy birthday thing. But if you're not, man, I want to take these next couple of weeks that I'm in the office and really, work with you to let's really take and showcase to these tracks some of the exciting stuff that you've got going on, some of the targeted emails and everything, and just kind of show them, the direction we're heading, because it's exciting, man. I mean, league obviously is very exciting, but all of the other stuff that's kind of happening behind the scenes is really cool stuff as well. And I can't wait to show it to everybody.
Yeah, and I absolutely, Brad. I'd love to do that. And I think the next logical step is taking all the riders that have participated in league but haven't joined. Is touching those folks again and reaching out to them via email and social and the channels that we have to keep them interested, to encourage them to come out, to incentivize them to join some of the coaching programs that Justin's talked about. I mean, I think the one question my daughter had on her own after about week 4 of league was, well, what do we do? What do we do after league? And I'm like, well, you go into open racing. And she's like, what if I'm not ready? I said, well, they have a coach at Sand Springs BMX that, Jeff Jones does a great job there. And you can, enroll in some clinics with Jeff on Tuesday night practice. So I think there's even another touch point that we can hit on and create some programs around to get them involved with the coaching program that Justin's been talking about tonight.
Awesome. Well, look, guys, I want to thank you so much for jumping on here. It's certainly a lot later in where you guys are at than where I'm at. I know I just came back from it. And but I want to thank you for jumping on and Justin for putting this together. This was great. Always love when we can do some interviews with tracks and let the tracks tell the story themselves. It's one thing for me to sit here and talk about a track. It's another thing to get the tracks on here, and I absolutely love it. And thank you for putting that together.
Thank you. It was fun. I mean, this is what I love to do.
Awesome, guys. Well, look, if we have any questions, we've got a couple more minutes. I think this thing is live for 5 more minutes. So if you have any questions for me or Rob or Justin or anybody, go ahead and type them, and I'll let the guys answer the questions. But if we don't have any, we'll wrap this thing up and of course save the recording for those who couldn't make it. We'll get this posted online as quickly as possible. Any questions? Nope. Well, again, all right. Well, hey, thank you so much for everybody, for Justin, Rob Gardenhire, our Chief Marketing Officer, Justin Travis, the Central Region Track Director, Ben Harves and Kelly, his wife, over at Blue Springs BMX in Missouri. Mark and Chris Statz, Wisconsin Rapids, Central Wisconsin BMX. Thank you, guys. This was great. And thank you so much, man. Hopefully the weather lets up for some of you in certain parts of the country. I know I dodged a bullet in Connecticut at Trumbull, and those folks did a bang-up job for their, not the first national at that track, but first national for those track operators. And we had 90% chance of rain and yet had a record turnout on that Saturday. And really no rain. Some dust abatement was really what you'd call that rain, and a little mist, and it was great. So hope the weather is better for all of you guys. I know some of you in the Central and East have had bad weather. So, but have a great weekend. Have a safe 4th of July or Canada Day for my Canadian friends. I'll see you guys if you're on the West Coast side at Abbotsford BMX. Take care, guys.